Hey, it's Lowery Smith of the Command Smiths here with just kind of the pre-con breakdown, opening up all four of the pre-cons of the Doctor Who set. I've kind of already got them out of the box, but not out of the plastic wrapping. Wanted to do that first look kind of stuff. Just let you know what's comes inside the big box. You got these as normal, just kind of like deck boxes that you can put them in. I don't use those. You also have a life counter with the some of the doctors in there. Pretty cool in that regard. I should probably do something with those. And then you get a planar die. Boop, boop, boop. They all seem to be kind of this bluish, darkish color. Also, some uh, planes that they can come in, and then inside the black envelope, you got these collector boosters that are sample packs for it, which will be pretty dope. You can kind of get the Doctor Who stuff in just the precons or collector boosters. I will get rid of this extra stuff, and that'll be kind of in every box. I will crack open the four commander booster or collector boosters right now. Let's just crack them open, huh? Get the good stuff out of the way. Let's see here. So, I'm sorry, Jeff. I'm so sorry. There are ads. All right. Makeover montage. I don't know. Astrid Peth. And wedding ring. I'm all right with that. All right. So Astrid Peth. Whenever Astrid Peth enters the battlefield or attacks, create a food token. Whenever you sacrifice a clue or a food, Astrid Peth explores. All right. Full art. And then wedding ring. That is a reprint, so I won't go over many of the reprints. Jeff, I do appreciate you getting us watching those ads. Is it not skippable? I don't pay attention to what I'm doing half the time, so I apologize. All right, next one. Oh, the Fifth Doctor. Oh, I do like this one. I doubt it's going to be worth anything, but at the beginning of your end step, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control that didn't attack or enter the battlefield this turn. Untap those creatures. I always like untapping, so that's probably better down there. And Wound Reflection, full art foil. I'm down. I was actually going to buy this one if I didn't open it, or like I was probably just going to get it. But I like it. All right. There's Wedding Ring and Wound Reflection in technically free packs. I'm down. I am down. All right. I should say Commander Smiths is a podcast that records live every Monday night, quote unquote, every Monday night, but we're pretty consistent. We actually do a weekly podcast. You can find us on any platform that you listen to your podcasts on. It should be there. I don't know. If it's not, please tell me. What else is there? We do shorts. We do a lot of stuff on YouTube. So like, share, subscribe. That'd be great. I feel like Wizards missed an opportunity by not making the cardboard deck boxes vertical with print on the box to make it look like a TARDIS. I can believe you. I don't know anything about Doctor Who. So like I can, is that a TARDIS? Vertical? I don't know. Did I just lose anybody that was going to watch this? Maybe. Romana 2. I'm here for the magic, man. 3/3 vigilance. Tap it with 1. Create a tap token. That's a copy of target token that entered the battlefield this turn. Doctor's Companion. Oh, that's kind of cool. And then Grasp of Fate. Oh, it's another reprint. All right. I like that art. That's dope. All right. Last one here. That's a TARDIS. Why isn't it just called a phone booth? Why can we call it a TARDIS for Superman when he changes in there in the phone booth? Or is that just also dated? All right, let's see what we have. The Master Multiplied. 6 mana, 4/3. Myriad. Oh, I like that. The legend rule doesn't apply to creature tokens you control. Okay. All right. So we're talking about the Master Multiplied. Triggered abilities you control can't cause you to sacrifice or exile creatures tokens you control. So the myriads get to stick around. I like that. I like it a lot. And the Face of Bow. Tap, you may cast a spell with suspend from your hand. If you do, pay its suspend cost rather than its mana cost, activate only as a sorcery. You may cast a spell with suspend from your hand. If you do, pay its suspend cost rather than its mana cost, activate only as a sorcery. Okay. All right. I dig it. If you haven't watched the show, you shouldn't say things like, "Why not call it a f." I'm just not allowed to talk about the show at all. Alright, so, cool cards. Happy with what I got there. Those were the Slampler packs. Let's open up the decks here, though. Alright. Where is that thing? I'm just an I haven't watched it. I hardly watch TV at this point. It's all the TikToks. That's all I watch at this point. All right. That is a thick card. I get it. Let's see. Take half the deck. I probably only have to do it in thirds here. All right. So the 13th Doctor, I kind of like that one too. Let's see here. 2/2. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, put a 1/1 counter on target creature, and then at the beginning of your end step, untap each creature you control with a counter on it. Um, I like that a lot. I don't know what I would do with it, but I like it a lot. Yasmin Khan, tap, exile the top card of your deck until your next end step. You may play it. 4 mana is a bit for that, but I don't hate it. Danny Pink? Danny Pink. As mentor, creatures you control have whenever one or more counters are put on the creature for the first time each turn, draw a card. Oh, I like that. I like that. That's pretty good. Let's see here. What's going on? Let's see here. All right. Next one. Osgood Operation Double. 2/2. Whenever you cast this spell, create a token that's a copy of it, except it isn't a legend. Tap for a colorless, spend the mana only to cast an artifact spell or activated ability of an artifact. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, investigate. Cast an artifact spell or activate ability of an artifact. 4 mana. Again, maybe too much for that, but I like that you get 2 people tapping for mana. So I guess Twice Upon a Time. Adventure, search your library for a doctor card, reveal it, put it in your hand, and then 6 mana, cast the spell only if you control 2 or more doctors. Take an extra turn after this one, exile Twice Upon a Time. Twice Upon a Time. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It has to be in the doctor deck, though, or I guess changelings? Changelings, I guess. All right, become the pilot. Non-commander creature. Enchant you control enchanted creature. So 5 mana steal creature. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and can't be blocked unless it's attacking its owner or permanent its owner controls. So you can steal a creature, non-commander creature, and it's unblockable if you're not attacking that player. That's kind of cool. Quantum Misalignment. I did like this one. Create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, except it isn't legendary, has rebound. So 5 mana, rebound, copy your commander twice. Nardole, Resourceful Cyborg. Tap to add a blue for each counter on Nardole. Spend this mana, only cast non-creature spells. Has Undying, Doctor's Companion. 2 mana, that ain't bad. Non-creature spells, that's not bad at all. All right. That's something right there. Creatures your opponents control have base power and toughness 0/1 until end of turn. 3 mana instant. That's a good when they're attacking you, you just boom. And that's all your opponents. So not a bad deal. Let's see one more time. They don't lose their abilities though. So that could be something. Bill Potts. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets only Bill, or activate an ability that targets only Bill, copy that spell or ability. You may choose new targets for the copy only once each turn. I don't dislike that. You know, it's not the goblin. It's not Zada, but it's another way of copying things. So I like that. into the time vortex. Uh, 5 mana cascade, rebound. Oh, okay. All right. That's all. You're just casting, just trying to cast spells. Right on. Dan Lewis, non creature, non equipment artifacts you control are equipments in addition to their other types and have equip +1/+0 and equip one. Kind of like that too. Turn everything into equipment. Just +1/+0 though. That's all right. Flaming Tyrannosaurus. 7 mana 5/5 menace. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, Flaming Tyrannosaurus deals 3 damage to any target, then put a 1/1 counter on it. When Flaming Tyrannosaurus dies, it deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. I can dig that. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, then put a 1/1 counter. Okay. All right. Danny Pink. Which one is that? Zoop. Oh, that's the blue one, huh? Yeah, that'd be bonkers. Just drawing a card. Yeah. I'm glad it isn't. How about that? Sorry, Jeff. How about that? That'd be good in what's his nuts? Prosper. There we go. Ryan Sinclair. When Ryan attacks, exile cards from the top of the deck until you exile a non-land card. You may cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost. If it's a spell with mana value less than or equal to Ryan's power, put the exiled cards not cast this way on the bottom. Whenever he attacks, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. You may cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost. Ryan's power. Maybe that could be something in like Ishin with the double trigger. Pop, pop. Return the past. I remember this is one that almost made my top 5. As long as it's your turn, each instant the sorcery card in your graveyard has flashback. Flashback is equal to its mana cost. I like flashback. 6 mana is a little much, but enchantment's harder to kill. I dig it. Impending Flux, 3 mana sorcery. It deals X damage to each opponent and each creature they control, where X is 1 plus a number of spells you've cast from anywhere other than your hand this turn. I don't know if I really like this part, but I'm gonna adjust them just a wee bit. That should make it a little easier, right? Can we see a little bit better there? I don't know why it's changing. And then as Fortell. So you can pay 2, exile it, and then pay 3. The Flux. 4 mana Saga deals 4 damage to target creature on opponent control. And then 2, 3, 4, 5. Exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. And then add 6 red. That's quite a bit. 4 damage to target creature and opponent controls. Again, probably a little too expensive. I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. Sisterhood of Karn. Enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter on it. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, double the number of 1/1 counters on Sisterhood of Karn. Graham O'Brien, 2/2. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, create a food token. All right. All right. Is there any way to fit that into the Lord of the Rings Hobbit decks? Probably not. I'm not. Loyal Lupari. Carvanista, Loyal Lupari. All right. Adventure cost humans you control gain indestructible until your next turn. Dope. I like that part. And then the 5 mana vigilance trample haste. Whenever it attacks, put a 1/1 counter on each human you control. 5/5. Wow. All right. That's not bad. Not bad at all. Because it's 5 mana, 5/5, vigilance trample haste, and then putting 1/1 counters on humans you control. Um I think that's where we're at. I don't know why my camera sucks. Is that where we're at? I'm gonna do this. Maybe that's better. The Foretold Soldier. Let's see here. Must be blocked if able. Can't be blocked by more than one creature. Deals damage. Exile it face down. It becomes foretold. Eh, eh. All right. Fugitive of Jadoon. 5 mana saga. Ugh. Create a 1/1 white human with ward 2 and a 4/4 white alien rhino creature token. 2 is investigate. And then 3 is you may exile a human you control and an artifact you control. If you do, search your library for a doctor card, put it in the battlefield. Nope, probably not. River Song was really interesting. You draw cards from the bottom rather than the top, and then whenever an opponent scries, surveils, or searches their library, put a 1/1 counter on it. Then River Song deals damage to that player equal to its power. That's interesting. Adam kind of almost built it, but decided against it. I kind of want to try it, but it's pretty cool. It's a cool card. Not yet. Maybe not yet. Maybe they just need to do some stuff to it. Um, I don't know. My camera's just kind of fucked. Madame Vastra, 4 mana, partner with Jenny Flint. So specifically, must be blocked if able. Whenever a creature dealt damage by Madame Vastra this turn dies, create a clue token and a food token. Meh. Meh. I don't know if I care about that. Jenny Flint. Hey, we just heard about her. First strike training. Whenever you sacrifice a clue or a food, um, put a 1/1 counter on another target creature you control. Strax. There's a lot of legends in here. That's kind of cool. Santorin Nurse. Vigilance Trample. 5/5. Pay 2. Tap it. Sack an artifact. Choose a player at random. When you do, it fights another target creature that player controls. I like fighting sometimes, not all the time. Deals damage to a creature. Put a 1/1 counter on Strax. Vigilance Trample. All right. All right. Give that guy some death touch. I'd be happy. The 12th Doctor. Is that Tennant's Doctor? I do like David Tennant. I'll admit that one. He's pretty cool. Pretty cool. 5 mana. The first spell you cast from anywhere other than your hand each turn has Demonstrate. When you cast a spell, you may copy it. If you do, choose an opponent to also copy it. Whenever you copy a spell, put a 1/1 counter on the 12th Doctor. 5 mana to do it. The Fugitive Doctor. When the Fugitive Doctor enters the battlefield, investigate. So 5 mana investigate for a 4/4. Whenever a Fugitive Doctor attacks, you may sacrifice a clue. When you do, target instant or sorcery card in your graveyard gain flashback 4 until end of turn. Eh, okay. All right. I'm going to try and push that in just a wee bit more. That might be better. All right. Me, the Immortal. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may choose 1/1 counter for strike, vigilance, or menace counter on me, the Immortal. The counters remain on me as it moves to any zone other than player's hand or deck. You may cast me from the graveyard by discarding 2 cards in addition to paying its other costs. Cool. That's an interesting card. Kind of like that Skullbriar type thing. Frostfair Lure Fish. When it ETBs, create 2/1/1 blue fish creature tokens and 2 tapped treasure tokens. 7 mana, 7/7. All right. Fish you control have haste and can't be blocked by humans. Foretell for 5. That's a decent card for Foretell. I kind of like that. Lunar Hatchling, 6 mana flying trample, basic land cycling, which is always decent. Escape 6, exile a land you control, exile 5 other cards from your library. Graveyard, I don't know if I like that. 6/6 flying trample, lunar hatchling, alien beast. All right. Heaven Sent. Cheap, investigate, and then it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Then if an opponent has 0 or less life, draw 7 cards. Otherwise, exile it, and you may cast it this turn. I can dig that. That's just repeatable, and investigating isn't amazing, but that part right there, it just kind of can keep on happening. I can dig it. Last Night Together, 5 mana sorcery. Choose two target creatures, untap them, put the two 1/1 counters on each of them. They gain vigilance, indestructible, and haste until end of turn. After the main phase, there is an additional combat phase. Only the chosen creatures can attack during that combat phase. I can like that as an extra combat spell. Maybe something like Zangief might like it. Something well, I guess that's already indestructible, but I can dig it. 1/1 counters? Okay. Maybe like Shalai and Halar? I don't know. Let's see here. Another stack. River Song's Diary. Whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery spell from their hand, exile it instead of putting it into the graveyard as it resolves. At the beginning of your upkeep, if there are four or more cards exiled, and that's a player, not just you. River Song Diary. Choose one of them at random. You may cast it without paying its mana cost. I like that. I think that's really cool because that's not just you. You put in a spell heavy deck, and then you're able to start recasting that kind of stuff. 3 mana. I can dig that. That seems useful. Confession Dial. This was the top 5 for me. All right, Surveil 3. Target legendary creature card in your graveyard gains escape until end of turn. Its cost is its mana cost plus exile 3 other cards from your graveyard. I just can dig this. I like it. 3 mana, Surveil 3, and then casting mana cost plus exiling 3. I dig it. I just dig it. Clara Oswald. Choose a color before the game begins. If the triggered ability of Doctor you control is triggered, that ability triggers an additional time. I can dig that. It is what it is. Chaos Warp. Okay, we must be getting into reprints here. We all know what Chaos Warp does. That's dope. Curse Mirror. Glad to get another one. It's a good card. Carpet of Flowers. Wow, I'm kind of surprised they reprinted it in a precon, but happy that they did. Plenty of blue in these precons, so you should be able to gain some mana from that. Dreamroot Cascade. Again, happy that they reprinted it. A little surprised. They're very good lands. So I like that they did that. Temple of Mystery. Classic. I put them in all of my decks. Vine Glimmer Snarl. Autolog Grove. Also solid. Desolate Lighthouse. I used to play at Rockfall Vale. Again, impressed that they reprinted these in there. Hello, Sweetie. Rootbound Crag. Yep. Good. Temple of Bannon. Yep. Cinderglade. Yep. I like these because they are fetchable. Sheltered Thicket. Temple of Epiphany. Frostbite Snarl. Storm Carved Coast. Fiery Islet. Impressed that they reprinted this as well. Oh, hey, Bad Scry. Come on. Come on, Jeff. Surveil, it's better. It's better because you get to see it. Game Trail, Exotic Orchard, Gilfrey Council Chamber. Oh, ETB, Surveil 1. Yeah, good. I like it. And then add 1 mana for Time Lords or Alien spells or whatever. But ETB, Surveil. Psychic Paper, 2 mana. Become whenever as it becomes attached to a creature, choose a creature card name and a creature type. Equip creature has ward 1. It can't be blocked, and its name and creature type are the last chosen name, the creature type. Equip 2. Hmm. That's interesting. That is interesting. TARDIS. Here, I'll learn about it. 2 mana, 2/4 flying, vehicle, crew 2, and whenever it attacks, if you control a Time Lord, the next spell you cast this turn has Cascade, and you may Planeswalk. All right. Well, I don't play the Planeswalking stuff, but I dig it. Sonic Screwdriver. I like the utility on this. 3 mana, tap for any color, pay 1, tap it, untap another target artifact. I'm down, and then pay 2, tap it to scry 1. I wish it was Surveil, but it is what it is. And then 3, tap it. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. That is just utility. That is just utility. That's some good stuff. Start the TARDIS. 2 mana sorcery, Surveil 2, then draw a card you may planeswalk. Probably not. Jumpstart, do it again. Discarding card, casting spell. Surge of Brilliance, 2 mana instant. Draw a card for each spell you've cast this turn from anywhere other than your hand. Foretell 2, so it will at least maybe. If you're desperate, I guess. It's cool. That's a cool card. I like that though. Uh Iraxa, Empress of Mars, 4 mana, 5/4 trample battle cry. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, create a 2/2 red alien creature. I bet that's the River Song deck that leans into Scrying Trail. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It's River Song. Memory Worm, 2 mana, 1/1. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, Memory Worm deals 2 damage to target player. That player discards a card, then draws a card, put a 1/1 counter on it. Cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand. Deals 2 damage to target player. Player discards a card, then draws a card. Hmm, hmm, hmm. 2 damage is a lot. Let's be honest there. Again, a lot of these cards are going to be good and prosper. But Decaying Time Loop, 4 mana instant. Discard all cards in your hand, then draw that many cards. Ray Trace is discarding a land and casting that spell. I like the retrace part on it. Could be cool. Could be cool for sure. The Jarian Witness, 2 mana, 0/4 flash. Whoop, I gotta put that up. Say something. Whenever another creature dies, if it was attacking or blocking alone, exile it and investigate. Nah, nah, nah. Truth or Consequences. 4 mana. Each player secretly votes for Truth or Consequences. Then those votes are revealed. You draw cards equal to the number of Truth votes. Then choose an opponent at random and deals 3 damage to that player for each Consequences vote. So drawing cards are dealing 3 damage. It's a sorcery. All right. Bigger on the inside. That's what she said. That's awkward. All right. Enchant artifact or land. Enchant permanent has tap. Target player adds 2 mana of any one color. The next spell they cast this turn has Cascade. Oh, I like that. I like that. 5 mana's a little much, but I like that. That's pretty cool. Um, Give me a second. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. All right. Wreck and rebuild. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Mill 5 cards, then pay. You may pay a. Then you may put a land card from your graveyard onto the battlefield tapped. Oh, I like that. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. I don't know if I like that part. Eh, mm, interesting. I think that's an interesting card. I'm cool with that. Arcane Signet, getting into more reprints. Soul Ring. I like that art. I like that. I don't know what it means. Ponder. Gotcha. Walk safe, my friend. Ponder. Dope. Think twice. Oh, I like that art there. Preordain. Also pretty sweet art. Great reprints there. Throes of Chaos. Cascade Retrace. Doing it again. All right. Got a 4 and a 5. Cultivate. Great reprint. Search for Tomorrow. Dope. Casting it from somewhere. Farseek. Yep. Beast Within. Great. Grow Spiral. That's pretty cool art for that. I like that one. Grow Spiral is a great card for me. Talisman of Curiosity. Let's see here. Talisman of Impulse. I am not a huge fan of green artifact ramp. So I'd much rather just have a spell or a creature or something. Rogue's Passage. Getting in the lands. Yep. I like this art a lot, by the way. That's pretty good stuff. Reliquary Tower. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Married Landscape. All right. Last little batch here. Temple of the False God, Path of Ancestry, Command Tower, Ominous Cemetery. That's new. All right, 5 mana tap, exile it. Target creature's owner shuffles it into the library. 5 is probably decent on a land. I can dig that. And then we have some basics. Is that what's going on here? And some tokens. All right. Let's see here. Human, word 2. Seems like a lot. Fishy. They have stuff on the back, but I'm assuming foods, treasure, alien. That's kind of looks like a snowy owl. Alien warrior. I'll go as we see more cards. Copy. Oh, dig that. All right. Oop, 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 oop. I got aggressive. Sorry. Let's on to the next deck. Let's see here. Why? The problem with picking at my nails all the time is I can't open shit. There we go. All right. The 10th Doctor. All right. We know that one. All right. Is that too close? That is too close. Yeesh. All right. The 10th Doctor. That's a 5 mana 3/5. Whenever you attack, exile cards from the top until you exile a non-land card, put 3 time counters on it, and it gains a spend. Pay 7. Time travel 3 times. Activate only as a sorcery. For each suspended card you own and each permanent you control with a time counter on it, you may add or remove a time counter, then do it 2 more times. Ooh. Ooh. All right. Rosie Tyler, 2 mana, 2/2. It gets 1/1 for each time counter on it. And then whenever it attacks, put a time counter on it for each suspended card you own and each other permanent you control with a time counter on it. And that's all it's doing. Okay. All right. That's something. Red, white, blue deck. Wilfred Mott. Let's see here. All right. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a time counter on Wilfred Mott. Then look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of time counters on Wilfred Mott. You may put a non-land permanent card with mana value 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield. And the rest on the bottom of the library in random order. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a time counter on it, and then look at the top X cards. Number of time counters on it. You may put a non-land permanent card. Okay. All right. I don't. Seems like a lot of work. So this is going to be the suspend deck. The other one was the Cascade / Play from Exile deck. So kind of work together a little bit if you want to mix them into each other. Everybody lives. This is probably the best card out of the deal. All creatures gain hexproof and indestructible until the end of turn. Players gain hexproof until end of turn. Players can't lose life and this turn, and players can't lose the game or win the game this turn. So yeah, put that on a Isochron Scepter and make the game last forever. Basically what we're saying. Everything comes to dust. I like the convoke part. Exile all creatures except those that share a creature type with a creature that convoke the spell, artifacts, and all enchantments. So getting rid of all creatures, artifacts, and enchantments except for basically what convoked it. I dig it. I can dig it. I think I'll put this in like Saint Traft and Ren deck. I can see that. All right, 4 Nox. Apparently, this is really good for the story. I'm just paying attention to what number 2 says. But Vanishing 4, which is 4 turns later, this goes away. But at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, draw a card. So this should be able to draw you roughly 4 cards. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. The Pandorica legendary artifact. You may choose not to untap it, pay to tap it, untap another target non-land permanent, then it phases out. It can't phase in for as long as the Pandorica remains tapped. When it becomes untapped or leave the battlefield, that permanent phases in, activate only as a sorcery. Okay. Okay, so you can basically okay. That's an interesting card. I enjoy that. Okay, so you can if it's hard to untap something, that kind of works. If you want to save something of your own, you can phase it out. If somebody's attacking you with a big old creature, it's kind of like Maze of Ith a bit with phasing out. I find that to be a very interesting card. The Wedding of River Song. All right, sorcery. Draw two cards, then you may exile a non-land card from the hand with a number of time counters on it equal to its mana value. When target opponent does the same, cards are exiled this way that don't have suspend, gate suspend, time travel for each suspended card you own and each permanent you control with a time counter on it, you may add or remove a time counter. Okay. So basically you're putting suspending something and taking one off because of this, and then anything else there. That seems like that'll be pretty good. The time travel. Hey, those aliens, they are damn cute. Look at that. They're like little snow owls with like no defining features, like in a blizzard. All right, emerge 6. I remember what that does. You may cast a spell by sacrificing a creature and paying the emerge cost reduced by that creature's mana value. All right. And then when ETBs create a 2/2 white alien creature token, if its emerge cost was paid, instead create X of those tokens, where X is a sacrifice creature's toughness. 4 mana 2/2. I can dig it. I like that. That's potentially a bunch of creatures. Astrid Peth, we went through that in the pack, so I don't have to read that. Crack in Time, 4 mana enchantment, vanishing 3. When Crack in Time enters the battlefield and is the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, target creature and opponent controls until Crack of Time leaves the battlefield. Exile target creature. Okay, so gonna be able to get 3 or 4 creatures here, right? ETB exile, pre-combat, pre-combat. 4? That's not bad. That's not bad. It is gonna go away. They're gonna come back, but all right. Uh Tons of stuff like Rift or Farewell, basically worthless. Um, you're right. You're right. You're right when you're right, but that's no fun. All right. The girl in the fireplace. I don't want to read all that. Creates a token, creates a token. Combat damage to a player that's turned time travel. I'm not going to read all that. Martha Jones. I don't know if I like sagas, so that's my bad, I guess. 3 mana. When Martha enters the battlefield, investigate. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, Martha and up to one other target creature can't be blocked this turn. Oh, I could dig that. I could dig that a lot. That's a decent thing going on. So Martha and one other creature can't be blocked. It gives you at least one clue, and if you have a semblance of clues, that's the way to be. I like that. Nano Gene Conversion, 4 mana sorcery. Choose target creature you control. Each other creature becomes a copy of that creature until end of turn, except it isn't legendary. I I like this in certain things. There are a couple cards out there like Sakashima's Will, and then there's like a Strixhaven green blue flip card. I like it. I don't play it enough, but I like this version. So, are you my mummy? I did like this one too. Flesh Duplicate, 2 mana. It's just a clone that has Vanishing 3. It's cheap. It's so cheap. I dig it. Hold on. I should say clone is for everything. Yeah. So it's a cheap clone because it can be any creature on the battlefield. I dig that one a lot. I don't care if it's 3 mana. Psh. The 11th Hour Saga. Search a library for a doctor card, reveal it and put it in your hand, or 2, and then 2, create a food token, a 1/1 token, and then 3, create a token that's a copy of target creature, except isn't legendary, alien, named Prisoner Zero. All right. All of history all at once. 4 mana sorcery, time travel, and storm. All right. So for each suspend card well, so that's okay. It's just getting rid of time counters or adding or subtracting and then storming. Okay. Donna Noble, 4 mana soulbound. Whenever a creature is paired with it is dealt damage, Donna deals that much damage to target opponent, or a creature is paired with it. Okay. All right. I like that redirect damage thing. That's kind of in that stuffy stuffy doll warehouse or, you know, windmill slam that in that deck. I don't know. Jesus. Talking's hard. Oh, I forgot to get water. Amy Pond, partner with Rory. But whenever Amy Pond deals combat damage to a player, choose a suspend card you own and remove that many time counters from it. All right. I like the suspend part. This is like the only clip I've seen. I really like that quite a bit. But ecstatic beauty. Exile the top 3 cards of your deck. You may play those cards until end of turn. You put 4 time counters on each of those cards that has suspend. Suspend 4. But basically, this is like what is this, Picasso? And he's brought forward in time, and then he's told how great his work is, and he's crying and stuff like that. Very emotional. Very. RMS Titanic. It is a vehicle, flying trample. The When the Titanic deals combat damage to a player, sacrifice it and create that many treasure tokens. Okay, well, you are likely. So it's 4 mana, crew 3, wait a turn to attack, and then you get a bunch of treasures. It's a little bit of work, but I like this effect generally. So I dig it. Coward Killer. Split card. Target creature can't block this turn and become a coward in addition. Oh, I dig that. Killer deals 3 damage to target creature and each other creature that shares a creature type with it. All right. All right. That's a card. Bad Wolf. I don't know what that means. 6 mana for a saga? Probably not. Exile the top 5 cards of the deck. For each non-land card exiled this way, put a number of time counters on that card equal to its mana value. If it doesn't have suspend, it gains suspend. Time travel, then time travel. Okay. For each opponent, destroy up to 1 target artifact that player controls. Interesting. I find that interesting. I don't know if I like it. 6 mana is a lot for that, though. All right, the Ninth Doctor. Whenever the Ninth Doctor becomes untapped during your untap step, you get an additional upkeep step after this step. Untap during your untap step. Okay, you get like 2 upkeeps. Dig it. Paradox Haze. Go do it. Sally Sparrow. 2/3. You may cast a creature spell as though it had flash. Whenever one or more other creatures you control leave the battlefield, investigate. The ability triggers only once each turn. Once each turn? Let me investigate as many times as I want. Don't be limiting clues. Come on. Generated anomaly. Double strike 2/3. Whenever Jenny deals combat damage to a player, it explores. Exploring is cool. All right. Rory, partner with Amy. First strike lifelink. 3/3. Oh, 3/3 for 2 mana. First strike lifelink. What? Whenever you cast this spell from anywhere other than exile it with 3 time counters on it. It gains suspend, then investigate. Oh, that's why it's 2 mana. All right. Okay. I don't know. I don't know what to do with that. All right. The 11th Doctor, 3 mana, 3/2. Whenever the 11th Doctor deals combat damage to a player, you may exile a card from your hand with a number of time counters on it equal to the mana value if it doesn't have suspended gains. Target creature with power 3 or less can't be blocked this turn. All right, so you can give it unblockable. That's cool. I like that. I like the giving suspend thing. Bring that back. Equal to the mana value. All right. The War Doctor. I kind of found this one interesting too. Um, oh, 6 mana for 5 cards that cast with suspend that reduces spend by 2 the next turn. If you can manipulate counters on sagas, that might be really good. That might be true. That could be all right in Adam's Tom the Bomb deck, Tom Bombadil. Um, and just doing that over and over. Yeah, I can agree with that for sure. Um, the War Doctor. Whenever one or more permanents phase out, and whenever one or more other cards are put into exile from anywhere, put a time counter on the War Doctor. Whenever the War Doctor attacks, it deals damage equal to the number of time counters on it to any target. If a creature dealt damage this way would die this turn, exile it instead. Death Touch. Give it Death Touch. All right. Regenerations. Whoop. Regenerations restored. White and a blue enchantment. Vanishing 12. Whenever one or more time counters are removed from this card, scry 1 and gain a life. Then, if it has no time counters on it, exile it. When you do, take an extra turn out of this one. I like that. Even though it's 12, I like that. That's doing some work right there. That's cheap. And then if you have any sort of like removal, that's pretty cool. All right. Idris, Soul of the TARDIS. TARDIS? Is it TARDIS? I think it's TARDIS. All right, 3/3 vanishing 3 when pee pee poo poo. Was that the sound effect you're going for, Hockey? Probably. Pee pee poo poo. Um Whenever it enters the battlefield, exile another artifact you control until Idris leaves the battlefield. Idris has all activated and triggered abilities of the exiled card that gets +X/+X, where X is the exiled card's mana value. Okay. Okay. We already talked about the Face of Bo. That was in my packs. Run for your life. 2 mana instant. 1 or 2 target creature each gain haste until end of turn. They can't be blocked this turn except by creatures with haste. Okay. That's a fast little thing. Generally, I don't do like just I want my haste to come from permanent so I can do it over and over and over and stuff like that. But still seems like a cool card. The Day of the Doctor. I wish Dr. Dre could have been one of these guys. I'm not gonna read all that though, by the way. Not doing it. Gallifrey Falls, 6 mana. It deals 4 damage to each creature. If the creature and this has fuse too, so I like that. So 6, 7, 8, 9. Gallifrey Falls, no more. I don't know what that means, but 4 damage to each creature. If a creature dealt damage this way, exile it. If it dies, any number of target creatures you control phase out. Oh, so you can kind of just phase your stuff out, protect it all on one card. Not all PP times are poo poo times, and not all poo poo times are PP times. Truer words have not been spoken. Actually, I don't know if that's true. Now that I'm thinking about it, pretty sure every time I sit down to poop, I definitely pee. All poo poo times are PP times. Goro Goro and Saturo. That's the mashup one, right? From I half don't remember what that does. What Goro Goro and Saturo do. All right, this one's dinosaurs on a spaceship. Because of course, 6 mana, 7/7 flying or vigilance trample. Other dinosaurs get +1/+1 vigilance trample. It has to spend 4, and then whenever a time counter is removed from this card, put a 2/2 white dinosaur creature token flying in haste. Has flying in haste. You're gonna give it vigilance and trample. Jesus. That's doing a lot there. I like that one. That's aggressive. like 6 mana Vigilance Trample, and then Vigilance Trample +1/+1 all other dinosaurs right in that color wheelhouse. I Come on. That's a cool card. Kate Stewart, 4 mana. Whenever you put one or more time counters on a permanent you control, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. So that what? Whenever you put one or more time counters on, that's like vanishing? Okay. So whenever it attacks, you may pay 8. If you do, attacking creatures get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of time counters among permanents you control. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. When you hit opponents with creatures that ETB that turn. Okay. I really don't remember it. I don't know why I didn't remember it. I really like that set. I don't know why it's not I don't know why it's not hitting. Rotating Fireplace, 3 mana artifact. ETB's tapped with a time counter on it. Add, I want to say Kate Stewart. I don't think I like that. I don't think I that's one of the few cards. It's very niche. Um Maybe they'll add more cards to it, but maybe I'm missing something. All right, add an amount of colorless equal to the number of time counters on rotating fireplace, and then 4 mana tap, time travel, activate only as a sorcery, so you can add more. Eh, probably not. Probably not. Basically, it doesn't get you colored mana. It comes into play tapped, and it's only getting you colorless, and you got to somehow get time counters on it. So maybe like a proliferate deck or something, but questionable. All right, the moment 2 mana artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a time counter on it, and then you can pay 2 tap untap target creature you control. It phases out until the moment leaves the battlefield, and then you control. All right, and then pay 3 tap it. Destroy each non-land permanent with mana value less than or equal to the number of time counters on it. Then sacrifice the moment. Activate only as a sorcery. Um, I'm gonna say this is not. It's too slow. It's too slow. All right, getting into some lands. Trenzalore Clock Tower land. Put a time counter on Trenzaline Clock Tower, and then you can pay 2, tap it. Remove 12 time counters and exile it. Shuffle your graveyard and hand into your library. Then draw 7 cards. Activate only if you control a Time Lord. Yee. That's gonna be pretty niche. That's pretty cool, but it's gonna be pretty niche. Wait. It doesn't tap for land or mana. Oh, they don't do this very often. Oh, no. Okay. Never mind. I was misreading it. It is tap, add a blue, and then a time counter on it. Okay. Phew. Somehow you gotta get 12 on there. That's, and have a Time Lord? Still niche, but not as niche as Grasp with Fate. Already talked about it, already reprinted. Farewell. Um, you were talking about this one too, Jeff, earlier, right? Pew pew. Good card, good art. I dig it. Out of Time. Don't play this unless you're a jerk or playing a vanishing deck. I have avoided it. It's a good card. Wedding Ring. All right. Second one today. Let's do this. Inspiring Refrain. Draw 2 cards and then put 3 counters on. Oh, this is a reprint. This is very weird art. I do not understand that at all. That looks draw 2 cards, then put 3 time counters on it. Eh, eh, eh. As foretold. Cool card. I don't even know if I have this one. I wouldn't play it enough, I don't think. Yeah, it's a land version of Midnight Clock. Yeah. It's better other than you need the doctor with that land. So as we're told, cool reprint. Fractured Identity, another really cool reprint as well. The art looks dope. But it's not something that I've played a lot. All right. Getting into some of them reprinted lands. Port Town. Let's come back. Oh. Temple of Triumph, Exotic Orchard, Temple, prairie, stream, irrigated farmland, deserted beach. Oh, this is okay. All right. I'm super happy that they reprinted those. Glacial Fortress, Sky Cloud Expanse, Temple of Epiphany, Frost Boil Snarl, Thespian Stage, cool reprint right there. Don't know what they're doing with it, but Fury Calm, Snarl, War Room. Oh, I like that. Like that quite a bit. Sunbaked Canyon, that's that sacrifice to draw a card. All right. I'm glad that they reprinted that. Sundown Pass. Again, the, Midnight Hunt ones, they're good. Stormcarved Coast, again, woo! Those are some good reprints. Fiery Islet, tap, sacrifice, draw. I like it. Atraxi Warden, 6 mana, 6/6 flying. When it enters, exile up to one target tapped creature. And then it has to spend 5 for 2? Eh, I mean, I'm glad we're adding more suspend. We can do that. Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, time travel, draw a card for 2. Yeah, yeah, that's gonna be a good card for sure in there. Just a cheap time travel with a draw stacked on. Time Beetle, 2 mana, 1/1 Skulk. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, time travel. Again, that's gonna be a really good card in there too. Skulking cheap. Yeah. Star Whale, 8 mana, 8/8 flying vigilance. Other creatures you control have forward 2, suspend 6. Um, that's a big suspend, but it's a payoff. That's nice protection. That's a big body, and it's a whale. Whale, whale, whale. So I like that. Uh Sibley Line Soothsayer, 3 mana, 3/2. When it enters the battlefield, reveal cards from the top. Did I already do this one? Maybe. Until you reveal a non-land card with mana value 3 or greater, exile the card, 3 time counters on it. If it doesn't have suspend, it gains it, and put the rest of the reveal cards on. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I don't know. But that's alright. That's alright. Judon Enforcers, 7 mana, suspend 6 for 3. No more than one creature can attack you each combat. 8/8 trample. Hmm. Ice and aggressive. But, the problem is that you're putting a defensive card on an aggressive body, and so, like, they might just want to they're going to have creatures to sit back and block if they're just attacking you, and they're gonna probably wanna kill it, so it's a little bit of a trade-off. I don't know. I don't know. Probably just interesting. Alright, Psychic Paper, already did that one. TARDIS, yep. Sonic Screwdriver, Arcane Signet, Soul Ring, Clock Spinning. Yeah, that makes sense in here. Thought Vessel, yeah. Mind Stone, that's cool. I like that. That's sacrifice to draw a card. Talisman of Creativity. I like that art too. Talisman of Conviction. Lightning Greaves. Yeah. Always happy to see that reprinted for people. Evolving Wilds is Command Tower, Path of Ancestry, Temple of the False God, Myriad Lands. I don't know what Temple of the False God is. What is there false gods in there? Because if it's in both decks, at least Myriad Landscape, Thriving Bluff. I don't care about the thrivings. Mystic Monastery, Ominous Cemetery. We kind of like that. That's kind of cool. Rogue's Passage. And then some. We don't need to look through the tokens this time. All right, that's another deck. What's our timing on? An hour for 2. Probably got 1 more hour, maybe a little less then. Let's see here. Let's see. Come on. Struggles. You should see me with a bra. Ugh. Okay. All right. 4th Doctor. Go wide, suspend commander. Maybe, maybe. Which one's Kate Stewart? Was that the uh, eh, all right. Eh, going back there. All right. Whenever you put one or more time counters on a permanent you control, create a white soldier. Whenever Kate Stewart attacks, you may pay 8. If you do, attacking creatures get plus X until end of turn, where X is the number of time counters among permanents you control. I just I just don't think there's that many things that are gonna work with it. You're just gonna have to shove everything that has a time counter put on it, because suspend cards don't count for this, because those aren't permanent cards. They are in exile when you're doing those kind of counters and everything. So it has to be like vanishing, and then the specific cards in here that say put a time counter on it. And so I don't even know if that makes a full deck at that point, and vanishing is rough because they go away. And so by the time you're hitting 8 mana or a handful of cards, like maybe a quarter of your stuff has already gone away just by existing. So I think it's going to be tough, if that makes sense, Jeff. The fourth doctor. 4/4, you may look at the top card anytime. Once each turn, you may play a historic land or cast a historic spell from the top of your library. When you do, create a food token. There's we have cards similar and just better than this. So like as a doctor, I'm sure he's cool. But beyond that, I don't think this slots in over those. Oh, I should review the other 2 decks. I think I like the green, blue, red one, like casting stuff from exile. I don't know if I really so I see the first one that I did, pretty powerful. Cascade is generally, multiple spells per turn. I can see that one being pretty cool. The suspend slash vanishing deck, I don't know how much I liked that one. There were definitely cards in there that are impressive. Was that Timey Wimey? Was that Timey Wimey? Timey Wimey, I've heard is pretty good as a deck, but I don't know if I like that one. Into the fourth Doctor. I don't even. This must be green, blue, white. All right. So this one, fourth Doctor. One. The problem is once each turn. So like, question would be is Augur of Autumn just better than this? Like, it doesn't have to be specific. Once each turn, you may play a historic land. So it has to be a legendary land or an artifact or a creature, which widens it a little bit, but just once is rough. I think that's the big thing. Sarah Jane Smith, part of the Commander Smiths, I might add. But 2 mana, 2/1. Whenever you cast a historic spell, investigate. This ability triggers only once each turn. And then that's not bad. It's cheap enough to make that okay. Um, Once per turn, a little rough, but I can dig it. I understand. Investigate's not amazing, so I don't know why they're limiting it. Because the more spells you cast in a turn, the less likely you can go and just draw a card off of it. So I don't know. Romana 2 did that already in the packs. Joe Grant. Each historic card in your hand has cycling 3. Whenever you cycle a card, put a 1/1 counter on Joe Grant. I think that's really cool, actually. It's a little high on the cycling, but that's a really cool card being able to give the cycling. I dig that. Tegan Javanka. Whenever you attack, target attacking historic creature gets +1/+1 and gains indestructible until end of turn. Yeah, 2/2. That's a decent protection for um your commander. Barbara Wright, 2 mana, 1/3. Sagas you control have read ahead. Oh, that's pretty good. which is when the saga comes down, you get to choose where it lands. Um, that's pretty cool. I'll admit. Ian Chesterton, 3 mana, 2/3. Each saga spell you cast has replicate. So the replicate cost is equal to its mana cost. So if you cast a saga, you can cast it, basically make a bunch of copies for as much mana as you want to put into it. Yeah, that's pretty cool too. I'm impressed with this one so far. There's been a lot of really cool legends there. The first historic spell you cast each turn has Convoke. Also, really cool. I like how these are giving abilities to other cards. I like that a lot. Um, yeah, I can dig that quite a bit. Crisis of Conscious. Destroy all tokens or destroy all non-land, non-token permanents. That sounds like a card we already have, but I don't recognize the name. But the Caves of Androzani. Androzani. All right. Put 2 stun counters on each of up to 2 target tapped creatures. For each non-saga permanent, choose a counter on it. You may put an additional counter on that kind of that permanent and search your library for a doctor card, reveal it, and put it in your hand. So I do kind of like these little sagas that allow you to go and find a doctor, and I'm glad that it's not a specific doctor. It allows you to be a little bit more flexible in how many doctors you have. The War Games, 4 mana. Ugh, each is this gonna be this is a saga deck, isn't it? Oh my god. Each player creates it's like 3 cards in one, and I just do I have the patience for this shit? Alright, each player creates 3 tapped 1/1 white warrior creature tokens. They're goaded. War Games remains in the battlefield. Put a 1/1 counter on each warrior creature, each, all of them. And then you may exile a non-token creature you control. When you do, exile all warriors. What? Oh, I guess okay. I was like, why do they stick around until it leaves? And then why does this get rid of or they're goaded? But if somebody destroys it, then they're not goaded and they get to stay around. All warriors. That is brutal. I don't like that. Trial of a Time Lord. Um, exile target non-token creatures an opponent controls until Trial of the Time Lord leaves the battlefield. Okay, do that 1, 2, 3 times. Starting with you, each player votes for innocence or guilty. If guilty gets more votes, the owner of each card exiled with Trial of the Time Lord puts that card on the bottom of the library. The Knight of the Doctor. Destroy all creatures for 6 mana. Second one is return target legendary creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Put your choice of the first strike, vigilance, or lifelink counter on it. Oh, I kind of like that. That's not bad. I mean, it's 6 mana, comes down. Next turn, bring a legend back. I kind of like that. 6 mana. 6 mana. But Traverse Eternity, 4 mana sorcery. Draw cards equal to the highest mana value among historic permanents you control. Bum, bum, bum. Simple. I like it though. All right. 1 blue for a 1/1. As long as it's untapped, all legendary creatures you control have word 1. And then pay 2, tap it. Target legendary creature can't be blocked this turn. That's cheap. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Ward for all your legends? Other legendaries. Okay, so people can do that. Adric, mathematical genius. Pay 3, tap it, copy target activated or triggered ability you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. You can pay 2, sacrifice Adric, counter target activated or triggered ability. I kind of like that both that back and forth, either copying or trap. And you can sacrifice it. Um that could be wild. Eh, like Rafine with the connive trigger of drawing all those cards and discarding and then copying it again and then having a little bit of sacrifice, and that's kind of cool. Nissa of Traken. You have no maximum hand size for 4. Whenever it attacks, sacrifice X artifacts. When you sacrifice one or more artifacts, this way tap up to X target creatures and you draw X cards. When you sacrifice one or more artifacts this way, tap up to X target creatures and you draw X cards. So that's X however many artifacts you cast. And that is probably why they're doing once per turn with all the investigating clues in this. Garbage. Reverse the polarity 3 mana instant. Counter all other spells. Switch each creature's power and toughness until end of turn. Or creatures can't be blocked this turn. Oh, that's very flexible. That's very flexible. It allows you to be aggressive, defensive, and kill those wall decks, I guess. I don't know. 500-year diary. 4 mana artifact. It's a clue. Enters the battlefield tapped. It does tap for a blue for each clue you control. Sacrifice 500-year diary. Draw a card. Ooh, that is interesting. I hate that it enters tapped, but I get it for the amount of clues that you potentially could have. I find that interesting. The tap part's brutal, though. Brutal. An unearthly child. Reveal cards from the top of the deck until you reveal a doctor card, a card with a doctor's companion, or a vehicle card. Put that card into your hand and the rest on the bottom in a random order. Um, that's 3 searching for vehicles. That's going to be a used card. I like that quite a bit. Probably pretty cool in here too. I like the idea of being able to search for the multiple doctors that can be and are in decks. So I can dig that quite a bit. All right, Leela, 7 Team Warrior, 3/3. Whenever an opponent control draws a card except for the first one they draw each turn, on their draw steps, put a 1/1 counter on Leela. It just makes it big. Ace, Fearless Rebel. That's 4 mana, 2/2. Whenever Ace attacks, you may sacrifice an artifact. When you do, put a 1/1 counter on it. Then it fights up to one target creature defending player controls. Ugh. Probably a little. I don't dislike it. I like that it can get rid of creatures. I just turns to 3/3. All right. All right. Susan Foreman, 2 mana, 1/1. If you would planeswalk instead, look at the top 2 cards of the planar deck. Put one of them, adds a green. All right. I'm not going to care about the planar decks. The 5 doctors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kicker for 5. So 6 mana, kicker 5. Search your library and or graveyard for up to 5 doctor cards. Reveal them, put them into your hand. If you search your deck this way, shuffle. If the spell was kicked, put those cards on the battlefield instead of putting them into your hand. Ooh. Ooh. That's a big play if you kick it. 11s. Yeah. That's a game right there. That's probably worth it. Jamie McCrimmon. 2/2 trample. Whenever you cast a historic spell, Jamie McCormick gets +1 X until end of turn, where X is the spell's mana value. So that could get big. That could definitely get big in like hashtag Team Forest Walk deck. Hey, look, ads again. Are we mad at me for this? Can we not skip that? Can we? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The Sea Devils. All right. Create a 2/2 green alien salamander creature token with Iron Lock. Do it again. Till end of turn, whenever a salamander deals combat damage to a player, it deals that much damage to target creature that player controls. That's kind of cool. There's not a lot of salamanders out there to work with, but they are likely in green and blue. So, City of Death. Create a treasure token. Create a token that's a copy of target non-saga token you control. Gallifrey Stands. 6 mana. Yeah, I don't. Sagas aren't really my thing. It's okay. I tolerate because it's you. I appreciate that, Jeff. I appreciate it. Makes me feel special. I know that. Um, when Gilfrey stands enters the battlefield, return all doctor cards from your graveyard to your hand. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a doctor creature card from your hand on the battlefield. Then, if you control 13 or more doctors, you win the game. There's only 13 doctors, right? But again, if it's a changeling deck and you just have 13 changelings in play, this is a win card. That's kind of cool. Like I feel like or Maskwood Nexus. Hmm? Hmm? I mean, the bummer part is like, yeah, yeah, I think that's a cool card. Doing a bunch, maybe. 13 though, you gotta be our doctor's everything but black. So red, white, blue. I don't know enough. Um Alistair the Brigadier. 4 mana, 3/3. Whenever you cast a historic spell, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. That's not once per turn. Oh, okay. Whenever it attacks, you may pay 8. If you do, creatures you control get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of historic permanents you control. Whoa! That is definitely hashtag Team Forest Walk deck right there. Plenty of historic spells in there, getting extra creatures, and then that 8 is a nice little boost. That's gonna be used. The first doctor. 2/2. Whenever the first doctor enters the battlefield, search your library for a graveyard for a name card Tortoise. Reveal it and put it in your hand. If you do, search your library this way. Shuffle. Whenever you cast a spell with Cascade, put a 1/1 counter on target artifact or creature. That's cheap. All right. The seventh doctor is a 2/4. Players have no maximum hand size. At the beginning of your end step, each player may draw a card. Each opponent who does can't attack you or a permanent you control during their next turn. I mean, they just don't draw a card if they want to attack you. Questionable. Questionable. The third doctor, 2/2 trample, gets +1/+1 for each non creature token you control. So, another reason why you don't investigate only once per turn, but the third doctor enters the battlefield. Create your choice of clue token, food token, or treasure token. Starting to dry up here a little bit. All right. The fifth doctor, we already talked about that one. I do like that one. I do like this one as well. Like a build around. You got your foods, your treasures, your clues. I kind of like all that. The sixth doctor, whenever you cast a historic spell, copy it, except the copy isn't legendary. It only triggers once each turn. 6 mana. Ugh. Ugh. I like that too. Or hashtag Team Force Walk. But s- that's kind of cool. That's still kind of cool. The seventh doctor, whenever the seventh doctor attacks, choose a card in your hand. Defending player guesses whether the card's mana value is greater than the number of artifacts you control. If they guessed wrong, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. If you don't cast the spell this way, investigate. That's interesting. I like that. 3/6, a little harder to kill, 5 mana. And then if they don't guess, you get just to investigate. Otherwise, a free spell. I like that. So smug. The eighth doctor. Oh, there's a lot of doctors in this one. Uh, when it enters the battlefield, mill 3 cards. Once during each of your turns, you may play a historic land or cast a historic permanent spell from your graveyard. If you do, it gains if this permanent would exile it if it leaves the battlefield. Blue and white. Blue and white. Forestin Menoptera leader. Forestin? All right. X, green, green, white, flying, ETBs with X11 counters on it. When it enters the battlefield, create X11 green and white alien insect creature tokens with flying. Whenever you attack with one or more insects, put a 1/1 counter on each of them. That's pretty cool. That's a swarm deck right there. I get it. It's an insect. That's a buggy. Sergeant John Benton. Yeah, that's for 6 mana, the dude's trigger shouldn't be once per turn. Yeah, that's kinda what I was thinking for copying historic spells, but it could be pretty damn good. It could be pretty good. It's still once per turn if you're able to, like, flash speed stuff. Sergeant John Benton, trample haste. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you and that player each draw that many cards. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Because that means uh, they might not block. They take that damage. That's pretty cool. The Curse of Fenric. I ain't reading all that. 4 mana. Probably does something. Dugan, Private Detective. Um, Power toughness, each equal to the number of cards in your hand. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, investigate. Then you can pay 2, tap it. Dugan deals damage equal to twice its power to another target creature. Activate only once. Ever. Yeah, if you can blink it, that can reset itself. I that's pretty cool. That's a huge guy. Or attacks, investigate. Yeah, dig it. All right, Bessie, the Doctor's Roadster. 3/4 haste. Whenever it attacks another target legendary creature, can't be blocked this turn. Okay. Ace is baseball bat. Equipped creature gets +3/+0 as long as the equipped creature is attacking. It has first strike and must be blocked by a Dalek if able. It has first strike and must be blocked by Dalek. Meh, 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 meh. All right. Gallifrey Council Chamber. Been there, done that. Day of Destiny. Legendary creatures you control get +2/+2. Oh, that's a reprint. Okay. That's from what? Saviors? Yeah. Saviors of Kamigawa. Didn't expect that. Heroic Intervention. Oh, yeah. They like that one. It's a great reprint right there. Time Wipe. I dig it. I don't know if I like it. Return target creature, but there's a couple of cards in here that make sense with board wipes and stuff like that. Heroes Podium. Again, this is kind of a legendary deck. That's a good one to have in there for sure. Another Trestle Nor Clock Tower. I dig it. I'm all right with that. I think it's a really cool card. It's sad that I have to have a Doctor card though. Twice Upon a Time. Already did that one. All right, getting into lands. Port Town, Exotic Orchard, Temple, Fortified Village, Prairie Stream, Canopy Vista, Sungrass Prairie, Temple, Irrigated Farmland, Temple, Scattered Grove, Celestial Colonnades in here. All right, great. I dig it. I like that art a lot. Desecrated Beach, Glacial Fortress, Overgrown Farmland. Okay. Horizon Canopy. Oh, Canopy's in here too. Dig it. Fucking dig it. Waterlog Grove. Dreamroot Cascade. Sky Cloud Expanse. Banished to Another Universe. 5 mana affinity for historic permanents. When it enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls until banish these. So, oh, that's pretty good. That's 1 mana in the right deck. And historic is artifact, legendary, or saga. Jeez. So it's a little slow, but real cheap. Oh. Time Lord Regeneration. That's 1 blue instant. Until end of turn, target Time Lord you control gains when this creature dies. Reveal cards from the top until you reveal a Time Lord creature card. Put that card on the battlefield. and the rest on the bottom of the library in a random order. Okay. I like that for a Time Lord deck for sure, especially here. I bet you that's pretty good. Displaced Dinosaurs. I've seen a lot of talk about this one, but 7 mana as historic permanents enter the battlefield under your control. It becomes a 7/7 dinosaur creature in addition to its other types. That's crazy because, again, this isn't Once More Time. This isn't. So if you have a bunch of clues coming to play, they're all 7/7s that can sack themselves for a draw. So, I mean, it's a 7/7s. But Dockside Extortionist next to this, crazy. It's crazy. It's a really cool card. So, Sonic Screwdriver, already talked about that. TARDIS, Swords to Plowshare. There we go. Great reprint right there. Path to Exile, another great reprint. Return to Dust, solid. Explore, I love that card. 3 Visits. Oh, nice reprint there. Arcane Signet. Yep. Soul Ring, Tasman. I already talked about these. Hero's Blade. Oh, free equip for Legends. Talisman of Progress. I can dig that. Thought Vessel, another one. Mind Stone. I like Mind Stone personally in my 2-color decks, not necessarily my 3-color decks, because I'm trying to hit my colors. But I get it. I get it. Thriving Isle, Thriving Grove, Thriving Hearth. Ash Barrens goes in every one of my decks, almost auto include. Seaside Citadel, Command Tower, Dinosaur Planeswalkers. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Whew. Path of Ancestry, and then just basics. All right. I'm going to have to apologize, and I need to go get a drink. So give me 2 minutes. We'll be on to the last one, which will be the bad guys. I'll be back in 2 minutes. All right. It was less than a minute, but that's okay. So, pretty cool deck so far. What do I think about that last one? It was definitely legendary focused. Um, I'll bet you playing with the doctors is really cool. And how many were in there, I don't know, but a lot of them. Is that deck any good? Probably not. So I would say the first 2 decks were better for sure than this one. Out of hand. Probably my favorite is the first one, but I did like a lot of timey-wimey cards at this point, like the legends giving abilities to other cards like Convoke and cycling, and I found that really interesting. So, all right, the Dalek goes there. Zoop. Let's see here. All right. Let's see here. Davros, Dalek Creator, 4 mana, 3/4 Menace. At the beginning of your end step, create a 3/3 black Dalek artifact creature token with Menace. An opponent lost 3 or more life this turn. Then each opponent who lost 3 or more life this turn faces a villainous choice. You either get to draw a card or that player discards a card. Oh, that's 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 good. So as long as somebody lost 3 or more life, you get a 3/3. And then everybody that lost 3 life either has to discard a card or have you draw a card. Whew. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool indeed. All right, Missy. All right, 4 or 5. Whenever another non-artifact creature dies, return it to the battlefield face down tapped. Under your control, put a 2/2 Cyberman artifact creature. Non-artifact creature dies. Oh, you're stealing people's stuff? All right. At the beginning, because that's yours too. Whenever a non-artifact creature dies, okay. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent faces a villainous choice. Each artifact creature you control deals 1 damage to that opponent, or you draw a card and chaos ensues. Is that a planar roll? Is that what chaos ensues means? I don't know. Um, that's really cool. I like this bad guy one. Both of the bad guys feel pretty good. They feel good. All right. Auton Soldier, 6 mana, enters as a copy of any creature on the battlefield except it isn't legend. If it's an artifact in addition to its other types, it has myriad. Oh, and it has myriad. That's really cool. That's really cool. I did, that's really cool. I Calamax? Make it a copy of Calamax, and then when you attack, you have a bunch, cast an instant, copy, 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 copy. They all do go away, but that's still really cool. The Flood of Mars. 4 mana, 3/3 island walk. Whenever the Flood of Mars attacks, put a flood counter on another target creature or land. If it's a creature, it becomes a copy of the Flood of Mars. If it's a land, it becomes an island in addition to its other types. I can dig it. So it's automatically giving island walk or giving something else island walk as well. That seems cool. Cyber conversion. Instant turn a creature face down with 2/2 Cyberman. Yeah, dig it. Cyberman. Hunted by the Family. 7 mana. Choose up to 4 target creatures you don't control. For each of them, that creature's controller faces a villainous choice. That creature becomes a 1/1 when a human creature loses all abilities, or the creature token, or you create a token that's a copy of it. 4 target creatures you don't control. Hmm. That's that's a very I am really, really liking this bad guy deck. Dalek Drone, 5 mana, Flying Menace. Whenever it ETBs destroy target creature an opponent controls, that player loses 3 life. 3 mana, 3/3 Flying. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Solid. Solid. Bashta Narada? 1/1, indestructible shadow. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature died this turn, put a 1/1 counter on Vishta Narada. The beginning of each end step. So, okay. Shadow, so it's unblockable, can't block, and it's indestructible. Wow. I wow. I love this deck so far. I'm only a couple cards in, but that's really, really cool. Time Reaper. They must have just, since it's the only deck with black in it, it just made everything cool, right? Time Reaper, 5 mana, flying haste, 4/4. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, put target face up card they own in exile on the bottom of their deck. If you do, you gain 3 life. I could dig that too. Can dig that. I'm not going to play that on the usual, but in these precons, pretty good. This one I know is awesome. All right, Doomsday Confluence. X X and a black. Choose X if you choose the same mode more than once. Sorry. Each player sacrifices non-artifact creature. Create a 3/3 black Dalek artifact creature token with menace, and then each opponent discards a card. And so I will probably switch this over to Rowan Sign of War and then lose a bunch of life, and it's just gonna create a mess. It's gonna be so cool. Oh, I love it there too. The Toymaker's Trap. All right. At the beginning of your upkeep, secretly choose a number between 1 and 5. That hasn't been chosen. If you do, an opponent guesses which number you choose. Then you reveal the number you choose. If you guess wrong, they lose life equal to the number they guessed, and you draw a card. If they guessed right, sacrifice the toy maker's trap. Eh, I can see that being fun. I can see that being fun. Vizlor Turlo? Ugh. 2/5. When it enters the battlefield, you may have an opponent gain control of it. If you do, it's goaded for as long as they control it. Have an opponent gain control of it. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card. Then you lose life equal to the number of cards in your hand. Hmm, hmm. Okay. Genesis of the Daleks. 6 mana, create a 3/3 Dalek with menace for each lore counter on Genesis. Whoa. Whoa. So first one is 1, second time is 2, 3, so that's 6 total by the end of it. Then target opponent faces a villainous choice. Destroy all Dalek creatures, and each of your opponents lose life equal to the total power of Daleks that died this turn, or destroy all non-Dalek creatures. That's interesting. So destroy all the Daleks, which is potentially 6 and 6 life. I find that interesting. I like this deck a lot. This is how it ends. 4 mana. Target creature's owner shuffles it into the library, then faces a villainous choice. They lose 5 life, or they shuffle another creature into their owner's library. That's cool. I'm cool. Death in Heaven. Target player mills 2 cards, then exiles their graveyard. Do it again, and then put all creature cards exiled with Death of Heaven into the battlefield face down under as 2/2 Cybermen. Delete. Deals X damage to each non-artifact creature and each player. You will be deleted. I dig it. Nice removal. One-sided, a little loppy, but ensnared by the Mara. 4 mana. Each opponent faces a villainous choice. Then they exile cards from the top of the deck until they exile a non-land card, and you may cast the card without paying its mana cost, or that player exiles the top 4 cards of the deck and ensnared by the Mara deals damage equal to the total mana value of the exiled cards in that player. I like that. I think that's these are some great choices too. Villainous choices. Oh darn it! Sorry, I dig it a lot. Day of the Moon. 3 mana, choose a creature card named, then go to all creatures with the name chosen for Day of the Moon. Alright, alright. Just goading. Master Multiplied, already talked about that one. The Master Mesmerist. Tap target creature and opponent controls with power less than or equal to the Mastermind's power. Gains Skulk until end of turn. Goad it. Whenever a creature with Skulk deals combat damage to one of your opponents, put a 1/1 counter on the Master and draw a card. All right. Not a huge fan of Skulk. Rosalon, the War President. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 2 life and exile the top card of your library. You may play the card for as long as it remains exiled. Each non creature spell you cast from exile has Conspire. Dope. I love Conspire. I am really into this deck. I am so happy with so many of these cards. I don't know what any of it flavor wise is, but these cards are really, really cool. Conspire. The Master, Gilfrey's End. 4/3. Whenever a non token artifact creature you control dies, you may exile it. If you do, choose an opponent with the most life among your opponents. That player faces a villainous choice. They lose 4 life, or the creature, or you create a token that's a copy of that card. Non token artifact creature you control dies. All right. All right. The Valyard. If an opponent would face a villainous choice, they face that choice an additional time. Ooh, while voting, you may vote an additional time. Woo! There aren't a lot of villainous choices out there, but if that was extended to just any voting, that'd be crazy. That's sweet. I like that too. Weeping Angel 2/2 flash flying or flash first strike vigilance. Whenever an opponent casts a creature spell, Weeping Angel isn't a creature until end of turn. And then whenever Weeping Angel would deal combat damage to a creature, prevent that damage, and that creature's owner shuffles it into their deck. All right. All right. The Beast, Deathless Prince. When you cast a spell, gain control of target creature until end of turn. Untap it, gains menace and haste until end of turn. When the beast enters the battlefield, tapped with 6 stun counters on it. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to its owner, untap the beast and draw a card. That's pretty cool. That's that's a really cool design. That's it doesn't it's just a 6/6, so you're not like missing out on a big beater, but being able to draw a card and you like act of treason deck right there. Yeah. That's really cool design. I should have got my water earlier. The Ronnie 3/4. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, create a red aura enchantment token named Mark of the Ronnie attached to another target creature. That token has enchanted creature, and enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and is goaded. Whenever a goaded creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, investigate. Oh, I like that. Look at that. You're going to get more investigation through this deck than the investigate deck. Come on now. Sycorax Commander. 4/2 first strike haste. Whenever it enters the battlefield, each opponent faces a villainous choice. That opponent discards all the cards in their hand, then draws that many cards, -1, or Sorax deals damage to that player equal to the number of cards in their hand. Hmm. Either they like what's in their hand, they take the damage, or they get the new choice. That's very different. The cyber controller that mills and creates a bunch of 2/2s, and that's pretty cool. Cult of Skaro. Um, Whenever cult attacks, choose one at random. 1/1 counter on each artifact creature you control. Draw 2 cards. Create a 3/3 black Dalek with menace, or each opponent loses 4 life. Whoa. All right. Those are some big hitters. I like all of those. Counter on each artifact. I don't know if I like the +1/+1 counter on it, but drawing 2 cards, create. Oh, I didn't even say that. Probably creating a 3/3 or each opponent losing 4 life. That's big stuff right there. The Dalek Emperor, 7 mana, 6/6, affinity for Daleks. Other Daleks you control have haste. At the beginning of combat on your turn, each opponent faces a villainous choice. That player sacrifices a creature they control. If you create a 3/3 black Dalek artifact creature token with menace. Villainous choice. That player sacrifices a creature they control, or you create a 3/3 black. And so they just that is doing some goddamn work. That's really cool. I like the Daleks. Ashad, the Lone Cyberman. 3/3. The first non-legendary artifact spell you cast each turn has casualty 2. So you got to sacrifice a 2/2 to copy it. Whenever you sacrifice another creature, put a 1/1 counter on Ashad, the Lone Cyberman. Okay. Yeah. I like the casualty part, but we can skip that. Blink. Choose target creature. Its owner shuffles it into their library, then investigates, and then they investigate 1/2. Then create a 2/2 black alien angel artifact creature token with first strike vigilance. And whenever an opponent casts creature spell that's permanent, isn't a creature until end of turn. All right. The master formed anew. All right, black and a blue, 01. When you cast a spell, you may exile a creature you control and put a takeover counter on it. You may have the master formed anew under the battlefield as a copy of a creature card in exile with a takeover counter on it. You may exile a creature you control and put a takeover counter. What? So are you just looking for like a ETBs? That what we're doing that? Yeah, probably just copies, ETB, extra stuff. Time Lord Rogue. Cybermen Squad. Non-legendary artifact creatures you control have myriad. 7 mana for that. That's still pretty good right there. That's big time. Cyber ship, 6 mana flying vehicle, deals combat damage to a player. Put the top 2 cards face down and they're 2/2 Cybermen artifact creatures. All right. 8 mana. Jeez. Jeez. Wound reflection. Yep, got that. All right. Blasphemous act. Solemn. Oh, that's that's pretty good art right there. We have the sound of drums. That's kind of sounds new to me. Enchant creature. Enchanted creatures goaded. If enchanted creature would deal combat damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage instead. Return the sound of drums from your graveyard to your hand. Well, that's pretty cool. That's a new goaded one for sure. River of Tears, Foreboding Ruins, Shadowblood Ridge, Smoldering Marsh. Um, Temple of Deceit, Choke Estuary, Sunken Hollow, Darkwater Catacombs, Fetid Pools. Oh, Temple of Malice, Canyon Slow, Exotic Orchard, Temple, Snarl, Coast, Fiery Islet, Lava Claw Reaches, Shipwreck Marsh, Haunted Ridge, Dragon Skull Summit, Creeping Tar Pit, Galvani. All right. There we go. No one knows. All right. At the beginning, all right. What is this one? Renegade Silent. 4 mana, 3/3. At the beginning of your end step, go it up to one target creature you don't control and put a 1/1 counter on Renegade Silent. Renegade Silent phases out. What? Beginning of the end step, goad up to one target creature you don't control and put a 1/1 counter on Renegade, and then Renegade phases out. All right. Not doing much for me there. Zygon Infiltrator. 3 mana, 3/2. Pay 3, tap another target creature, and put a stun counter on it. Zygon becomes a copy of that creature for as long as that creature remains tapped. Activate only as a sorcery. Hilda? Yeah, probably not good enough there. 3 mana is kind of a lot, but could be fun. Don't blink. 2 mana cycling until end of turn. If one or more creatures would enter the battlefield from exile or after being cast from exile, their owner shuffles them into the libraries instead. Oh, that's pretty good. That's quite good. Um, if one or more creatures would enter the battlefield from exile or after being cast from exile, that's not the same as command zone, right? Probably not. Whoop. Exterminate. All right. Replicate. Tap an untapped Dalek you control to. Yeah, just tapping a Dalek. Ooh. Destroy target creature. Its controller loses 3 life. That's good. That's solid. Dalek Squad. 3 mana, 3/3 menace. Myriad. Yeah. Myriad, they're just all over the place. Santorin General. All right, 5 mana. Trample haste 5/5. Whenever it and at least 2 other creatures attack, for each opponent, goad up to one target creature that player controls. Those creatures can't block this turn. Oh, can't block? Solid for an uncommon. Solid. All right, let's soup. Great intelligence plan. Draw 3 cards, then target opponent faces a villainous choice. They discard 3 cards, or you may cast a spell from your hand without paying its mana cost. What? What? Draw 3 cards, and target opponent. Oh, just target opponent faces. All right. Whew. All right. That's good. I like that. Cyberman Patrol. Artifact creatures you control have afflict 3. So whenever a creature with afflict 3 becomes blocked, defending player loses 3 life. That's pretty good. I like it. Yeah. That's really cool. That's really cool. Cyber Mat. 2/1 Skulk. Whenever it attacks and isn't blocked, it gets +X/+0 until end of turn. X is the number of attacking artifact creatures. That can get kind of big. All right. I need something a little bit more normally than just gets big, but I don't know how to close out games. So there we go. You may, all right, Clockwork Droid, 2 mana, 3/1. You may exert Clockwork Droid as it attacks. When you do, it can't be blocked this turn, and you scry 1. Okay. Yeah, 2 mana ain't bad. Scrying 1. Keeping it tapped, though, is kind of brutal. But Midnight Crusader Shuttle, 3/4 vehicle, crew 2. Whenever it attacks, defending player faces a villainous choice. That player sacrifices a creature, or you gain control of a creature of your choice that player controls until end of turn. If you gain control of a creature this way, tap it, and it's attacking that player. Cool. Laser Screwdriver. I like the stealing of things. Arcane Signet, Soul Ring, Thought Vessel, Mind Stone, Lightning Greaves, another Lightning Greaves, not bad. Propaganda's a good reprint for sure. Feed the Swarm, another solid, cheap reprint. Snuff Out. Oh, surprised by that. That's gonna that doesn't get reprinted very often, but that'll be good. Commander Sphere, Wayfarer's Bauble, solid, solid, solid. Talisman of Dominance, Talisman of Indulgence, Command Tower. Yeah, all those. Geomorphic, Thriving More, Thriving, all the Thrivings, Path of Ancestry, Temple, Reliquary Tower, Crumbling Necropolis, Ominous Cemetery, and that's it. Well, I think everybody probably knows that I enjoy the Dalek bad guy deck probably the best. I think there's maybe some of the most interesting cards and builds in there at this point. But I don't know which one's best. Probably this one or Timey Wimey. Like suspend cards are really hard to like just interact with. Adam's built the deck before. So um hopefully you learned some of the stuff. If you haven't already devoured all the spoilers and everything, I think they're really cool decks. If you enjoyed Doctor Who, I think from my understanding, this is doing a lot of work for you. And I'm glad that they did something like this, and I think a lot of people are gonna enjoy this. All right. Everybody have a good night. Bye. Thanks for joining.